Hi, everyone. It's Kim. Thanks for joining me. When I realized Mother's Day is but a few short weeks away, I figured I'd better get moving on my cards. And when I started to think, what is it I'm going to do? Flowers always pop into my brain because I think flowers are appropriate for Mother's Day. But I wanted to up my game this year and add something in addition to those flowers. So let me show you what I came up with. I'm going to start with this one. This cute little pair of overalls is perfect for a gardener. And I'll show you the inside and then I'll tell you what I used for all of my dies. So on the inside, I have my Mother's Day greeting, and then there's my flowers. Not the main point of the card, but they are included. So for the overall die, this is one that I got from Scrappy Boy Stamps last year at the Scrapbook Expo. So I know Scrapbook Expos have started, and check out the Scrappy Boys booth if you like this die. They always have different things, and that's what I love about what they offer. So I used this overall shaped card die, and that's another reason I really liked it. There is a die in here that cuts out the shape of the overalls so that I can make this the card. Or if I just wanted to use like the top layers on a slimline card, I could do that as well. My gardening tools are from the Garden Charms from Karen Burniston. They were just the perfect size to fit in the pockets there. And then on the inside for the flowers, I needed something small, but I have always loved these little flowers from Tim. This is called Brushstroke Flowers Mini. I cut them out of watercolor cardstock and very simply do a little watercolor. You could use distress inks. I use the distress watercolor pencils, and very simple, nothing fancy. And then for my sentiment, I pulled out an older stamp set from Spellbinders. This is We All Dance Sentiments. I know when I got this, it had like Father's Day, Mother's Day, and some other nice sentiments on there that I'm some of these I wouldn't have elsewhere. So that's the stamp set that I used. I also had to cut my stamp. That's one thing I like about clear stamps. If you need to like rearrange the words or make two lines instead of one because you don't have the room for the full stamp, it's easy to cut the clear stamps. It doesn't hurt them. Just make sure you cut between the letters, and then I can put these back together and use them as one line again. It doesn't hurt the stamp. It's easy to line those back up. So that starts my Mother's Day cards for someone who is a gardener. And let me move on to another theme. This one doesn't really have a theme, it's just a pretty card, but it highlights butterflies instead of flowers. And I want to show you the flower on the outside. This is from Tim's die, the perspective, let's see, perspective butterfly. Huge die. I've always loved this die. And I had this die cut out and colored with distress ink. And then I thought, I want to age it a little bit. So I went back, since we had just done this. I had my tray when we were rusting cars and paper. And in fact, you can see the butterfly imprint on the bottom. So I took the colored side down and put it in this tray. I did not add any vinegar to this. I just put it in here. Basically, I wanted the colors to kind of blend together, and I thought, I'll see what happens, because this has already been activated rusting powder that we looked at from Paper Artsy last time. Put that old butterfly down, gave it a lot of water, a good coat of water, so it was soaked and there was extra water running around. Set it aside till the next day, and this is what came out of this tray. It gives it an aged look. The colors blended, and then this is already activated rusting powder, but with the water, it just made it kind of melt again, I guess you could say. Here's the corners of the wings I had to cut off, but you could see how nicely it aged those wings. It's not really rusted. It just is a nice aged look to that, very soft. And then on the inside, I have more butterflies. I do have those flowers down there to keep with the floral theme, but I love the butterflies. Now, this is a Karen Burniston die, and it's using the Raising Platform pop-up. And I know I found online, and I wish I knew who. I'm going to guess it was one of Karen's design team members when this raising platform pop up came out. But this was not my idea as far as how to do this card and then have two of the pop up mechanisms in one card. But I love this idea, and I'm going to show you the original card I made using something else other than butterflies, but I thought this is perfect for Mother's Day. So on the outside again is the perspective butterfly. Love you always is a sentiment from my better press. I just at one time foiled and better pressed a ton of sentiments, and I have them in a box. So I just dig through that when I need something. For my embossed background, that's linen from Spellbinders. And usually when we emboss something, we want it to be popped up, but it was almost too much with this butterfly to have the the embossed background and then the butterfly. So I embossed the paper and then I went back and ran it through two of my cutting mats just to flatten the embossing out. So I have the pattern, but it's not so raised, and I like it better just because the butterfly is so open. I just liked it better. And then on the inside is the raising platform pop-up mechanism. And then the butterflies for this are from Tim Holtz again. I've always loved this die. And this is the brushstroke butterflies, 3 different sizes, and I did use all 3 sizes in this. And then I thought, well, they need some flowers in here, but I wanted to keep it very simple. So I just went and looked through my flower dies, and I pulled this one out from Spellbinders, Floral Spray. I think this is a relatively old die, but they were simple flowers. There weren't layers to them. I could just make them very simple. I wanted my butterflies to be the key figure on the inside and not the flowers. And then finally, this Happy Mother's Day die is from Karen Burniston. This got a workout, and we're going to see this again and again and again. I use this every year. This time I just used the letters. I didn't use the shadow or background die, but this got a workout. So we're going to see this again. But I love the butterflies. I think it's just a very springtime elegant card. And I'm going to show you the first card I made using this idea with the kind of double mechanism inside. I made a bee card, and again, I made this a long time ago, so I would really have to go dig to find what these original dies were, but I just want to show you with the bee. So I could use this one for a Mother's Day card. The only bee I know is this is Tim Holtz's bee. That's the only thing I could tell you on this. But if you have a card like this or something that you have done in the past and you like how it works, don't hesitate to pull out some more dies and use it again and just change the theme up a little bit. So those cards took a little bit of time. The butterfly card took me a little bit of time, but I thought, what if I need a bunch of them, a bunch of Mother's Day cards, and I need to make them simpler, but I want to have a little pop on the inside. So here's a very simple card, but it does have a little wow factor. So on the outside is this Happy Mother's Day sentiment die cut from Karen. There's my flowers in my paper. And then when I open it up, I have a pop-up. And this is a very simple pop-up. It's the Lorna label pop-up. And there's several sets that have come out, add-on sets. Love You Mom is one of them. This is the latest add-on sets. It's Love You, and then I added Mom to that. But I thought that's a perfect and easy way to make a pop-up. Very, very simple. And then I just used for where I'm going to write, those are 2 dies that come with the Lorna label pop-up. I have them covered up there. But you can kind of see on the front, they can fill in here on this main platform. And then I used a couple flowers, and I do believe those are from the Floral Spray just because I had this out, and there's a couple little flowers to go with it. Very, very simple. Now, for the mom, I don't have the word mom anywhere. So I went through and I pulled out some different alphabet sets, some different font sets. I'll be honest, I had a different font here, more of a cursive font, and I really didn't like it. And then I decided I needed to put the white background so it would kind of match what I did here with Love You. So I went and got a different font. This is an old font, again, alphanumeric bold from Tim. And I did not have any of this purple paper left. My original mom was cut out of the same color. So I just found another purple that went with it, cut the letters out, glued it on a piece of white cardstock, and then just hand trimmed around it. So it goes more with the Love You. It just looks better. It looks like it belongs. Last time it just didn't look that great. But I know some people are like, "Oh, I like the pop-up cards, but they're too hard. I don't think I can figure them out." Well, I want to give you a 1-minute demo of how easy it is to use this Lorna Label pop-up, and we're going to do it in the most simple form. And then as you can see here, there's other things you can add on. I'm going to use something totally different. It's a Karen die, but it's not one of the Lorna Label add-ons. So we have this one where we can cut it out. You can see that there. But let me just show you how simple it is to do this pop-up. So if you're needing some encouragement to at least try a pop-up, this is the easiest one out there. So let me show you. I'm just basically going to do 2 pieces, my card base, and then more than likely you're going to want to put some paper, some decorator paper or printed cardstock, something to dress up the inside. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to show you how to install this pop-up, but you would put that on first. Then I have cut out the die that is the pop-up, and I normally glue mine in, but to save time today, I'm just going to tape it in. But this is how easy this is. So die cut this out, fold everything, and I use my bone folder so I have a good crease, and I've done that already, but just make sure everything's creased. And then this is where the tape is where we're going to glue it. So the little tab on top, on the bottom, and these 2 little side tabs. That's all we need to do. So we're going to line it up, and we're going to line up the second fold from the bottom here. And I usually just eyeball it. If you want to measure it, it's about 1 inch on each side, but I just eyeball it, to be honest. And then what I do, you don't have to do this, but it just gives me a little more sense of security. I'm going to tape down with some removable tape these corners. It just gives me a little added security that that's not going to move around. Again, you don't have to do this, but this is my little security blanket that it won't move. And then all we're going to do is fold these tabs under. Let's take the tape off. And if I'm gluing like I normally glue, I just pick that up, glue it. I've got tape instead today. We're going to press that down. And then I go to this top, make sure this is laying flat. We'll just take that liner off, push that underneath. And then we're going to do these 2 little tabs here on the side of our decorated platform. And I'll take this tape off. And I'm going to just burnish that tape down real quick. And then make sure that pops up. And voila, we're done. I mean, that took what? A minute just to put, less than a minute to put that in there. And the other thing that I like about this is if you want to decorate it, I a lot of times put my decoration on, but then I'm like, oh, I might add this. This lays flat so you can continue to decorate it. You're not having to hold it up and trying to put stuff on. So if you've never tried a pop-up and you like this one, give it a go. It is so easy. And there's 3 other add-on sets, one for Happy Birthday, Thank You, and Merry Christmas, and now Love You, that you can add on to the top of this. But let me show you what I did. I just used that base pop-up. Decorated it with a flower on the outside. And then I used this Happy Mother's Day for my sentiment on the inside. So I took this, basically cut this out with the shadow die, the background die, and put it on that top of that platform. And that was it. And then again, this piece is in the Lorna Label pop-up die. It's one of those decorative pieces right there. And now I thought if I want to personalize this a little bit, I can do that. So I'm going to just show you a bunch of ideas that I came up with. And I'll tell you the dies that I used. So I think about the moms I'm sending this to. What are their interests? What are their hobbies? What do they enjoy doing? So I can personalize a very basic Mother's Day card. So maybe I've got somebody who likes to cook or bake, and I could just put some baking utensils. I got a chef's hat, a loaf of French bread, and decorate that. I could use that around here, but why not decorate that second level of that platform? And for all of my pieces here, I pulled out the baking accessories from Elizabeth Craft Designs. It is one of the mouse dies, but these are nice and big. Lots of choices for accessories. And there's a muffin and a pie as well, which we're going to take a look at here before too long. Easy to do that for a baker. What if somebody's a dog mom? I have a lot of friends who don't have two-legged children, but they have four-legged children. So there, I've got a ton of dog dies. This one's super, super simple. A couple bones, but if you knew the breed of the dog or what the dog looked like, you could fashion the dog, whatever dog die you have, to match the mom's dog. So this one is Skateboarding Terry from Spellbinders. Super simple. And then for my bones, I pulled out the dog borders from Karen Burniston, and then I could just cut off a couple bones. I like the fire hydrant, so if it was a male dog that somebody was the mom of, I could have put that fire hydrant right there. What if they're a cat mom? So I pulled out some golden oldies. This is a Karen Burniston die from way back when she was with Elizabeth Craft Designs. Again, use whatever dies you have, but I wanted to give Whiskers the cat some loves. And Whiskers has a pet mouse there, so we just put the mouse on there. There is a cat border from Karen Burniston as well, a new die that had like mice, fish bones, and a yarn roll. So I could decorate that as well. Now, if you don't like how the cat kind of covers up the sentiment, you could put it down here as well and just move this piece over a little bit. So you have different options to decorate this card and make it personal for the mom that you're sending it to. I even have a friend that's a bunny mom, and so I pulled out this bunny. This is from Tim Holtz. Super simple. And then I could put carrots or something over here if I want to add a little more decoration to that. And my bunny is from Tim Holtz. This is the bunny games, and I know there's a bunny. He has a vault die with one of these bunnies as well. So if you have one of those dies and you have, a bunny mom, that might be perfect. What if it's a new mom? This is the first year for Mother's Day. So I pulled out, this is from Paper Rose. I'll show you the die, the baby pram. Now this is pretty big, so it kind of blocks everything there. So this one I would put down here, and I might have to modify some die. So I would move this piece over, and this piece just barely fits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim down the top of the pram, and this top piece I'm going to just tuck under the bassinet part there. That will shorten that up, and then I can trim this handle off wherever I decide to put this. And if this is the first time it's a Mother's Day, I just cut out first, and I can add that somewhere on my card so they know it's their first Happy Mother's Day. And then finally, maybe we know somebody who is just a crafter like us. So here I can make a crafting Mother's Day card. And I put the scissors down below just because they're so big. And then I've got washi tape and a glue bottle there that I could decorate that second platform for. And let me go back and I'll show you from Paper Rose. This is the baby pram, since we missed that. And then for my crafting tools from Spellbinders, I have Crafty Tools. Now, this is a bigger pair of scissors. So the scissors that I am using is from a Spellbinder set called Field Notes Tools. I forgot to grab that die, but it's just a little smaller, and it has like a couple other. There's a pencil and at least one more die in that set, but this pair of scissors just fit a little better. So that gives you some ideas if you want to have the flowers, but maybe personalize it to whatever interest or hobby that your mom has that you're sending this to. And the flower, I have to confess, Spellbinders had their warehouse sale going recently. So I bought a few of the dies because the prices were too good to pass up. Colorful Burst Flower is one that I bought during their warehouse sale. And I really do like that. It's a big, big flower, and it worked perfect to kind of coordinate with my paper on the inside. So I'm going to leave you with my grand finale of a card because you know how much I love that stage pop-up from Karen. So here is, again, someone who likes to cook. And when I pop it up, I've got my mouse in front of a pop-up oven. That was my experiment this time, if I could make that work on the stage pop-up. And because I put this like hard base on the back, I was able to do that. I had a place to attach the back of that oven. So let me show you what I did with this one. Of course, I started with the stage pop-up. And then my mouse is the small mouse, the little mouse from Elizabeth Craft Designs. Excuse me. And then the oven pop-up worked out great. And I just kept it very simple. I didn't add the cabinets because the width of the stove is the width of one of the sides of the pop-up. So that worked out. I couldn't have asked for that to work out any better. And I figured I don't need the counters. And then the cabinets are the cookie sheet in this die set, which is covered up. It's just the cookie sheet. The mouse, we talked about the mouse as a little mouse. And then originally I had pulled out this set to make some accessories for her, but this is for the big mouse. So a lot of things were just too big for her. The bowl works. And then I did make this pie, which you can see baking in the oven there. Nice big pie. So because I had it made, I went ahead and used it in the oven. Then this little mouse is from the baking accessories. I had originally, when I made this, I didn't know what I was going to put in front. And I knew I needed to put, if I thought I might put anything, I needed to have that little bracket in there. If I didn't use it, I could cut it off and just put a rug on the floor. Excuse me. But anyway, that's how it all came together. And then there is another set, the oven extra. So if you wanted to go all out, I promised myself I wasn't going to go overboard with this. But there is an oven extra set. So maybe you want a turkey cooking. And then there's also a kitchen border set. And there's also a baking border. But I thought I'm going to get this kitchen border and I'm going to fry an egg on that stove. This is where I get in trouble. I have a basic idea and then I kind of keep going and going and going. And then on the back is that Happy Mother's Day die again. And then I could cut out another decorative piece if I want a place to write something on, or I could write down here on the base of my card. Now, and one other thing, when I put this stove in, just to show you, you can push this up. And I needed to do that to easily attach the back of the stove. So if you're making something, you could send it like this if you wanted to. I think it's probably thicker than ever to do that. And your recipient, I guess it would kind of pop down and they would figure out to push this down. if you didn't want to put that, press up stamp on the bottom. So a couple different options. And the mouse does stand up when I stand this piece up. Anyway, that is my ideas for my Mother's Day cards this year, whether I make something kind of fancy and incorporate some flowers with it, or if I keep it super simple and I do my Lorna label, and whether I customize it or use like the love you mom pop up. I've got some different options, just kind of depending on who I'm sending the cards to and what their interests are. But I hope that gives you some ideas when you think about what you're going to be doing for your Mother's Day cards, whether your mother is a friend or a relative. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again in a future video.